2017 episode of Junk Food on the Road. Today we are going to talk about
the UK.
Yes, and not all of it, most of it.
Yeah, okay, so we've only been...
England, Scotland, and Wales.
England, Scotland, Wales. We contemplated doing them separately. I don't know if we have enough about Wales to do it separately. Scotland we might. Maybe, but we'll smash it all together. If we end up going to Ireland at some point, we haven't been, then maybe we'll do an Ireland one. And also, just before we get going, I'd like to apologize for not having one in January.
Yeah, oops. We were busy.
You know, holidays, wrapping up, stuff like that.
Yeah, things. We had things.
We had official things.
Yes.
Things you'll hear about later, I'm sure.
So let's start with, I don't know, do you want to go north and move south and start with Scotland, or we'll probably just get random anyway?
I think we're going to get random anyway. I mean, I think we should start with...
Sticky toffee pudding?
Okay. Now, we should note that before we started this podcast, we had forgotten the name of some desserts, and so Allison started looking them up, so we might have like these weird orders and way things, because she's really excited about certain things, so... She's very excited about talking about sticky toffee pudding. Sticky
toffee pudding is the yummiest dessert ever.
Ever?
Yes, totally ever.
So you're saying in all of this junk food podcast that we do, we talk about so many desserts from all over the world.
If I could only eat one kind of dessert, well, I might pick sponge pudding, but that's just my childhood. But for taste, I would probably go with sticky toffee pudding. I like sticky toffee pudding so much that we went to like the most expensive tea shop in the UK called Whittard's and got their sticky toffee pudding flavored tea. And I like to drink that now.
And just as a side note, we went to Cyprus at one point and ended up finding it again.
And got some more sticky toffee pudding flavored tea.
Yeah. You are a big sticky toffee pudding.
I very much like sticky toffee pudding. It's got everything you want in a dessert. It's warm. It's not too sweet, but it's sweet, and you drench it in like
sweet.
A custard sauce.
A ridiculous sweet.
I like custard sauce a lot.
Okay.
And it's got a sort of molassesy flavor, and I like that sort of full-bodied sugar rather than that really refined sugar flavor.
I would agree that sticky toffee pudding is good. I could not tell you that it's my favorite dessert of all times, but I couldn't tell you what my favorite dessert is right now. So particularly because it's probably not from the UK. So sticky toffee pudding is definitely something to think about first, right off the bat. What else can we think about? Like, where do you want to go? Do you want to... I mean, there's so many things. I mean, if we talk about candy, there's like so many candy bars were invented in the UK. It's ridiculous.
Well, we did go to York.
York is the chocolate capital of the world, I would say. I've been to so many places.
The chocolate confection capital.
Yeah, it's like, as far as modern, not too fancy chocolate bars, if you want to find the place where it all started and where it all came from, it's York. It is the place to... The Kit Kat bar, the Aero bar, the Terry's Chocolate Orange.
Cadbury is not necessarily from there, but the guy who started Cadbury...
Cadbury is his last name.
Yeah, Ray Cadbury or something.
This is John, but...
Apprenticed with Rowntree, who invented Kit Kat and Aero.
In York. That's where Rowntree sort of comes from. If you don't know about Rowntree, it doesn't exist anymore, but a lot of...
well, it still exists in York, more or less.
More or
It's
less.
owned by Nestle now.
Yeah, it's Nestle, or actually in the U.S., Hershey owns most of the Rowntree brands. So. But
the Rowntree family name is all over York.
Yeah, and it's because they donated so much in the community. It's sort of like, I would imagine, I've never actually been to Hershey, Pennsylvania, but what I would imagine Hershey, Pennsylvania to be like.
We'll go sometime.
Yeah, we will. That will be a future episode of this, I'm sure.
Yeah, the old Rowntree store is now a Pizza Hut.
Yeah, that was a little sad, but it was kind of cool because we got to go upstairs and see the way it used to look, because they haven't changed it. So if you happen to find yourself in York, find the Pizza Hut and ask one of the waiters if you can go upstairs and look around. It looks like dilapidated, but it's some of the original stuff.
It's very original. It's like the room where Cadbury slept in while he was apprenticing is there.
Same with Fry.
Fry's Cocoa and Fry's Turkish Delight. Stuff.
Yeah, some if you know British chocolate.
Yeah, Fry and Cadbury both apprenticed with Rowntree.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what else can we talk about? I mean, in general...
Well, there was your disgusting Mars bar.
What disgusting Mars bar?
The deep fried one.
That was not disgusting at all. Okay, in Scotland.
Okay, it tasted good, but holy cow, like...
In Scotland, they deep fry
a chocolate bar.
That's the most wonderful thing on earth. If Americans think that they sort of corner the market of deep frying stuff. And yes, you guys have sort of taken the extreme. I've seen like deep fried butter, deep fried Kool-Aid, deep fried all kinds of weird stuff. But I would have to say that the first sort of extreme deep frying came out of Scotland, because they've been deep frying Mars bars long before the U.S. Really got into it, and that sort of really became trendy. And it's wonderful. I love deep fried Mars bars. I think they're tasty. I think they should deep fry more bars.
Oh my God.
Yes. I'm going to die young.
Yes, you are. And foolishly.
And foolishly. So that was good. Scotland in general had some good food. The nice thing about the UK, which is, I don't know if this is junk food or fast food, but pubs are such a big culture in the UK. Like, and fish and chips is sort of part of pub culture generally. But the idea of pub culture being so important is so amazing, because it's like a social thing, but it's also like the food there. Like, there's always sort of a place to get food, and you're always going to get the sort of same type of food, and it's not bar food. It's a little higher quality than bar food, and you can go to some pubs and get some really, really good food, and really good local flavors. It's amazing. I think that's something. Although pubs are all over the world, I think the UK still really has the market on pubs.
Yeah, the pubs are pretty good. Remember, we went to 2 pubs in one night just for dinner, because the pub we ate dinner at ran out of sticky toffee pudding. So we went to another pub.
We're back on the sticky toffee pudding.
That sponge thing, too, is really good. Treacle sponge, I think.
Treacle sponge, I think it's called, yeah.
That's pretty good stuff, too. It's no sticky toffee pudding, but it is pretty good.
And if you want to talk about sponges, there's also, what's the other sponge?
Victoria sponge.
Victoria sponge.
We ate Victoria sponge in like an old school kitchen.
Okay, it was
somebody's house.
This was so cool because it was my friend's mother made it.
It was awesome.
So I had like a British mother give me Victoria sponge that she made, and that is, one of the most spectacular things you could possibly imagine. Like, you can't imagine anything more sort of. This was in
over pots of tea made on an Aga stove.
Oh, it was wonderful.
It was so perfect.
It was so perfect. It was one of the greatest things. You can't buy that.
No,
you just can't buy it.
No, that was amazing.
So I'm trying to think of what else is.
Can we talk about Cornish pasties?
Cornish pasties are great.
It's funny because they a lot of people here in North America would probably pronounce them Cornish pasties, because that's what it looks like, but it's actually pronounced Cornish pasties.
Did you ever hear the history of the Cornish pasty?
Isn't it about miners?
Yeah, it's basically a Cornish pasty is like a folded over. It's almost the best. North Americans would probably think
like
of it almost
calzone.
Yeah, like a calzone, but it's more of a puff pastry.
Yeah, but it's got more pastry on the edges.
Yes, and the reason why is apparently miners used to eat them. And it was
Cornish miners,
and they used to use the edges of the pasty, which is kind of thicker, pasty to hold on to it.
Yeah, so that sort of edge of pastry on the pasty is a handle. It's not meant to be eaten.
Yes, but
I eat it now.
And I imagine they were a little smaller than they used to be.
Maybe.
The edges, so.
But they're pretty good. And then there was something else they called jacket potatoes.
I think that's a baked potato.
It's like a baked potato. It's like a stuffed baked potato.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's called a jacket.
No, I don't understand that either.
No.
British also have some good sweet shops, and which they call lollies.
Sweets are lollies.
Sweets are lollies, but they have a lot of things like they have the rhubarb creams, cinnamon, these like disc things. There's all these sort of.
That's very descriptive.
No, it's like these like powdered. They're like they've got like powdered cinnamon on the outside of this like
the
sugar.
yummy disc things.
I can't remember what they're called. I found them in Scotland. So I think anybody from Scotland or Ireland is probably yelling right now at their podcast saying that is called this, but he doesn't know and he's an idiot. But that's what's going on. But there's all these shops that will just have jars of candy, and you can just ask for like a bag of that candy out of the jars. It's sort of a bulk thing, but generally you ask for it instead of you serving yourself. They do have serve yourself too, but the sort of traditional stores would have these jars, and it's really it's amazing. Like, and the rhubarb cream or rhubarb something, really good, and a very sort of British thing. You ask any English person, and they're gonna have fond memories of getting those things. So that's something else. It's great. Like, candy stores are a very sort of important part of British culture.
Can we talk about the Chocolate Museum in York?
Chocolate Museum in York is, if you're a candy fan and you're going to Europe, you have to go there because it's like awesome.
It's like it's an experiential museum, and you basically get a tour through it. I think they call it the chocolate experience.
Yeah, the chocolate experience, which it is.
It is. They start you off with trying sort of old school made South American chocolate drink, and then they take you through sort of the development of the chocolate confection, and you try samples of it all the way along the way, and then at the end you get to make your own chocolate lollipop.
Yeah, and you also there's a chocolate demonstration. You get samples of that too.
Yeah, like you sample all along the way.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah, it really does sort of all the layers. They also teach.
But it's also educational and informative.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be perfect for somebody who's writing a book about chocolate.
It would be.
I'm writing a book about chocolate. So plug. It's a really cool place to go. York in general, I mean, there's lots of other things. There's a fudge shop that's really good there. There's all kinds of candy stores.
Yeah, they're so nice at the fudge shop.
Oh, it is so amazing.
You get to watch them make the fudge like from about 2 feet away from the marble.
And you get to sample it.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely awesome.
And they talk about making it. Like, it's not like they're behind glass and you're just sort of like, peeping Toming at them. It's like it's an experience. It's an interactive experience. They're like, oh, we're about to make the fudge, and
Fudge Kitchen.
Is that what it's called?
Yep. They're
yeah, and then they talk to you while they're making it and tell you what they're doing and why.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, in general, like I said, the UK is for sweets is just, it's a great place to go. The thing about that makes it sort of comfortable, I think, for North Americans is I think a lot of North American sweets have come from the UK, so we feel comfortable, but yet there's a sort of oldness about it too.
But their chocolate is so good.
Their chocolate is
they excel at milk chocolate.
Yeah, they do. It's just amazing.
Wasn't the UK the first place we had pizza dough balls dipped in Nutella?
Yeah.
It was in that little cafe outside of St. Paul's Cathedral in London, I think.
It was, yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
And just all kinds of...
I couldn't believe it. I saw that on the menu and I was like, what?
Yeah. Although it wasn't the first time we had pizza with Nutella.
No, that was in Tokyo.
That was in Tokyo. So
that's another podcast.
So the idea of that is sort of... I think we've actually already done that, but I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
But yeah, it's just... It's the UK is a great place for sweets. And, feel free to make a joke about UK teeth now.
We've had our laugh with our, a little private joke about UK teeth.
Yes.
Want to talk about Wales?
Wales. We did a little drive. We haven't explored that much of Wales. We only really did the south.
We didn't even stay overnight.
No, we just sort of did a day trip. But
and we offset some of our sweet eating in Wales by going hiking.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
It's a beautiful place. The one thing is there's a ice cream place in
the Mumbles.
The Mumbles, which is an awesome name for a place.
Yeah, you drive past Cardiff and then past Swansea and then go down the peninsula and you go to the Mumbles.
And there's an ice cream place. I remember it was called Joe's, and it's very well known for its soft serve. It's one of the only places where I will tell you, get the vanilla ice cream. They mastered vanilla ice cream. It's so rare to have a place that focuses on what many people consider the simplest flavor, but is in fact the most complicated flavor of ice cream, I would say.
Well, I'm not gonna, say vanilla is boring because I really, really like vanilla.
But it's also not simple. It's so hard to get right.
Well, I mean, you just watch somebody trying to make creme brulee, like a vanilla flavored creme brulee, and 10 years later when they finally master it, you sort of realize how complicated working with vanilla really is.
It is. But yet it's one of the most important flavors in confections too, so.
Yeah, you can't have anything without vanilla, really.
Yeah, it's like
you can.
It's the base flavor for so many things.
Yeah.
So, where else in the...
Well, there was also in the Mumbles, there was that little coffee shop that we stopped at that had some sort of yummy stuff that I don't really remember what we ate there, but it was an organic or fair trade, or there was something unusual about the coffee shop. It was something bohemian, but it was really cool. It was really nice and comfortable and friendly, and they had yummy sweet treats there too.
The coffee shop made me think of sandwiches, and sandwiches makes me think about something that we cannot forget to talk about when we talk about UK and junk food, and that is a certain store that has a food court.
Harrods?
No, not Harrods. A chain of stores. S&M.
S&M? M&S?
M&S. Oh my goodness. Marks and Spencer.
It's not a food court. It's a little food shop.
And it's great.
It's awesome. A lot of the grocery stores have like that sort of takeaway food shop. But remember, and this isn't junk food, but we were staying at a youth hostel in London, and we went down to the M&S.
Sorry.
And picked up like a single serving steak and a single serving chicken pot pie and some vegetables.
I love the Marks and Spencer sandwich. It's corn and chicken salad. Okay.
And we took it back to the hostel and we cooked it up and we had a lovely sort of really nice dinner. And like without any sort of wastage, it was really nice.
But Marks and Spencer is
now you can talk about your corn sandwich.
So they have this chicken and corn sandwich. It's fantastic, and I love them. And every time we're in the UK, I pick one up. But Marks and Spencer is great. I mean, they're all over the place, and sometimes they just have food places now, like in the airports and stuff, particularly. But Marks and Spencer is a great place. It's not necessarily junk food, but I think there's a lot of junk food there. And one of the great things about it is, like, if you're on a road trip, they have truck stop Marks and Spencer's, and we stopped at a couple of those.
For sure.
And you can pick up like a thing of yogurt, or you can pick up
it's not necessarily junk food. You can even get like clotted cream and stuff there, which is, whoa, we haven't talked about scones and clotted cream.
See, Marks and Spencer pays off again. We get to another good subject.
Mm-hmm. That's like super yummy, and like clotted cream is really hard to find here. I can get it at Farm Boy. But, a nice Scottish scone, which is like I guess Americans would call it more like a tea biscuit. It's sort of tea biscuit-ish, but it's really super fluffy and wonderful. And then you just load it up with some jam and then a whole bunch of clotted cream or Devon cream. And it's just a wonderful flavor sensation.
If you've never
texture, I think.
If you've never tried clotted cream, I always say the flavor is sort of like a whipped cream, like an unsweetened whipped cream. So it's very sort of heavy. But it's a thicker. It's almost
denser.
sticky.
It's denser than whipped cream.
It's almost like a cross between. It has the texture of condensed milk, like a thick condensed milk.
So it's not runny though.
No, it's not. It's sticky though.
I guess it's a little bit sticky, yeah.
It's like a sticky cream, but tastes a lot like whipped cream.
It's like whipped cream that you've put in the freezer. That sort of texture, but it works.
And it's good with a bit of jam.
Yeah, you got to put a bit of jam on it.
And then I know where's the best place to get a biscuit or a
scone with clotted cream.
Yeah.
Urquhart Castle.
Urquhart Castle. And the great thing about Urquhart Castle is you can keep an eye out for Loch Ness Monster there because it's on Loch Ness. So it has a beautiful view of Loch Ness, and it has the absolute best scones and clotted cream we've ever had.
Very best.
Yeah, by a mile.
Yeah. Salisbury Cathedral is okay.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah. I mean, in general, you can find nice ones.
Second.
I think if you wanted to have like a feeling of something, you might also want to try like, obviously if you could find a British mother that would make this stuff for you, you'd probably find it amazing. But like sort of, I picture it's sort of something you might find at a flea market. You might find it good. That would be sort of a pleasant, very British thing to do.
You want to talk about some pub foods again, like steak and kidney pie and bangers and mash and blood pudding and black pudding and... Well, blood pudding and black pudding, that's more like a breakfast food.
Why don't you explain what those are? Because I think a lot of people may not necessarily know what that is.
Well, it's the same thing, really, but it's just with two different names, and it's like a breakfast sausage almost, but it's made with oatmeal and blood. And they put it together in a big sausage and then serve it in slices so that it's kind of like a sausage patty. And it sounds disgusting, but it's really yummy.
I think for me, it all depends on how it's spiced. I've had some ones that aren't great and some that are good. So, I mean, the other thing we can talk about, I mean...
It's cow's blood, by the way, not like...
I don't think...
Rat's blood or anything.
I think people figured it was some kind of... Maybe pork's blood. Yeah, pork blood?
I don't know.
But generally we've had cow's blood. The other thing is bangers and mash, which is sausages.
And mashed
potatoes. The other thing is The peas, you can get mushy peas.
Mushy peas, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. They often get it with fish and chips, which is a little weird, but
it's like I don't even know how you make mushy peas. You just overboil them, or do you mash them, or what?
yeah, it's pretty weird.
Because I'm not a fan.
The other one is Yorkshire pudding.
Yorkshire pudding. Remember the gigantic Yorkshire puddings we got in Haworth?
Haworth, yeah. And apparently they're known for it. The Yorkshire pudding is not pudding as you would find in North America, but it's like a pastry, and you often fill it with meat and gravy.
Yeah. Well, you often serve it on the side of meat and gravy, but not in Haworth. It's it's like the size of a plate.
Yeah.
And then they fill it with meat and gravy.
It was like having it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's a very eggy bread type of thing.
Yeah, it was good. I like it.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's pudding. Actually, just to mention this, pudding in general, you should know that when you have a list of puddings, they're not talking again about the North American thing. Pudding is also dessert.
Yeah, pudding means dessert.
Pudding means dessert, so you can get a cake for pudding.
Yeah.
And so yeah, lots of other things you find. In fact, you rarely will find sort of North American level pudding in England.
Yeah, it's like that line in Another Brick in the Wall. It's like, how can you eat your pudding when you don't eat your meat?
Yes.
Or you can't have any pudding until you meet your meat, or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's like pudding just means dessert.
Yeah. So that's it's good to know if you're visiting there to pudding is just dessert.
But the UK excels at dessert.
They do.
And breakfasts.
Yeah.
English breakfasts are so good.
Yeah. And Scottish breakfast. We had some good Scottish breakfast.
Well, Scottish breakfast and English breakfast are extremely similar.
You know what I like the cooked tomatoes and mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. Cooked tomatoes, mushrooms, baked beans, eggs.
Beans on toast.
Bacon, sausages. Yeah.
There's so many good things like that.
Blood pudding. Blood pudding is more in Scotland than in England, but everything else.
Something else we should talk about Scotland. I don't know if it's junk food, but it's the...
Okay, but we're already at 22 and a half minutes.
Haggis.
Yuck.
Haggis is not good.
If you spice it, okay, you can kind of tolerate it. But it's basically sheep's lungs and hearts mixed with, like, suet and oatmeal stuffed into a sheep's stomach and roasted with a bunch of spices.
It's kind of... I've yet to have good
like
haggis.
Lung. You're eating lung.
I've yet to have good haggis.
Lung and heart. And other offals, I think.
Yeah. I'm just not a big fan of it. I know some people love it, and that's fine, but I'm just not a fan.
Yeah.
So.
There's a reason they call them offals. Because they're awful.
Yeah. I think the one thing... I think we can finish this off by just saying that the UK used to have a reputation for really bad food. That's changed, and it's changed on every level.
Best Indian food I've ever had.
Indian food's great. But just in general, even the British traditional food is really good. Pub food is so good. The sweets are so good. There's a lot of international food that's good.
Best breakfasts in the world.
Amazing breakfast. It is really sort of a foodie's paradise.
Except that place that we went to in Huddersfield, where they had...
Well, that's a long story.
Beef sausages and turkey bacon.
Yeah. But that's a long story that we'll get into another time. But, we could go on for hours about UK treats.
Yeah, but we won't.
But we won't. So I guess we'll say good night. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter @CandyCritic, or go to